The Brit Awards are a big deal. The nearest thing Britain has to the Grammys. Each year, the pop-skewing side of the nation's musical talent gathers to see who is the best. While the awards and speeches are the point, what seems to stick in the British consciousness are the performances. Ginger Spice's Union Jack dress, Gorillaz playing live for the first time, and Adele breaking hearts with Someone Like You. These will always be iconic moments in British pop, but Brits' performances also have the ability to outrage delicate sensibilities as well. Whether it be the KLF featuring extreme noise terror, thrash punk reworking of 3am Eternal, Pulp's Jarvis Cocker mooning Michael Jackson, or Kanye West beating the censor when debuting All Day. But the most complained about performance in Brits history happened in 2020, and it made Britain ask itself some serious questions about prejudice, systemic oppression, and racial identity. But before all that, who is Dave? This is New British Canon, and this is the story of Black. Dave was born David Arobasa Omoregui in Brixton, 1998. Growing up in Streatham, his early life was eventful. By the age of 11, his two brothers had been sent to prison. His older brother Ben, 4 years for robbery. His eldest brother Chris serving a life sentence for a gang-related violent crime. Because of this, his mother tried to reduce the risk of her youngest getting into trouble, making sure that Dave would not leave the house after school, so that he wasn't just watching anime and playing video games. When he was 14, Dave's mother gifted him a digital keyboard. Practicing every evening, he quickly achieved a grade 7 in piano. After a false start at rapping when he was 13, he also began toying with production, as well as UK grime artists like Kano and Devlin. What influenced his initial musical experiments ran a spectrum of genre. I've always had a different ear for music. I really enjoy Lana Del Rey, and Pink Floyd are amazing. I like soundtracks. I love Hans Zimmer. The score for The Dark Knight Rises is one of my favorites. I've always listened to different styles of music to make sure I'm balanced. I feel like if you only listen to your type of music, you can never go outside of it. At 16, Dave started college, but this was also when he would dive back into the rap game, recording a freestyle on the YouTube channel Black Box in May 2015.
Now in my chest, my brother knows it's burning. Them visits had me crying, had me roping, had me taking pills to help it.
During his retirement, as it was, he'd been writing lyrics, improving his flow, and though eyes down, shoulders slumped, his words were delivered with an energy and hunger that screamed potential. What followed was a barrage of genre-diverse singles, highlights being his 2016 Armin van Buuren sampling debut, Jekyll and Hyde.
And now these clowns couldn't sit with me. Literally, I stand on my own like Sicily. I've never been known for wife and hoes and Twitter beef. I'm trying to turn green and white to red like Italy.
Through his first real underground smash, grime tempo banger, Tiago Silva.
Walking the rave, smile on my face, drinking my cup, hand in my jeans. Man talk tough, man look up, down, left, right, straight to a bang in the teeth.
And 2017's piano-led slow jam, Samantha.
I know they see me on the camera. Might just link Samantha, mix the gentleman with gangster.
I just can't belong to a genre, because I don't know what I'd want it to be. I'm only 18. His first EP, 6 Paths from 2016, featured Wanna Know, which came to the attention of Drake for a YouTube playlist titled Best New Songs from London.
Cause all my men are running to the money, will be running like
Drake remixed and released it as a single in October 2016, becoming Dave's first chart entry, peaking at number 51, and opening him up to a much wider audience. Between 2016 and 2019, Dave in total released 11 singles and 2 EPs, achieved a UK #1 with the Fredo featuring Funky Friday.
One hand on a girl I'm dating, one hand on the cash I'm making. We come through like Funky Friday and have all your man them skating.
Performed live with artists such as Kano, Drake and Stormzy, and raised his profile to become one of the most promising young voices in UK hip-hop, but he had yet to release his debut album. Dave started work on his first album, Psychodrama, in January 2018, co-produced with Fraser T. Smith of Adele and Stormzy fame, and finished it in February 2019. The album itself is a concept album of sorts. The story of Dave's life up to that point, using the narrative device of therapy sessions to explore themes of mental health, race, background, politics, and much more. The album is split into 3 acts: environment, relationship, and social and moral compass. One of the most important tracks on the album, and one of the last recorded, was track 3, Black, about how Dave believes his racial identity has shaped him. Initially it was supposed to be more upbeat, before Dave's moody, Hans Zimmer-esque piano chords motivated the lyrics to become more intense. The song's words were written while rapping along to the rhythm of the Kendrick Lamar track, Blood.
So I was taking a walk the other day, and I seen a woman.
In Black, Dave references the Wallace Furman novel and/or Kendrick Lamar song, The Blacker the Berry.
The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. The kid dies, the blacker the killer, the sweeter the news.
As well as the gig song, The Essence.
Fucking hell, I do this for my niggas that are stuck in jail.
I mean fucking hell, what about our brothers that are stuck in jail that could have bust the bell, they held a burden, gotta live with it.
While his collaborations like Tiago Silva and #1 single Funky Friday had been more akin to your average trap hip-hop party starter, Black instead recalls the more serious work he'd done on his 2017 Ivor Novello winning track, Question Time. But whereas that critiqued the leaders of modern UK politics on issues such as Grenfell, Brexit and the NHS. Okay, I mentioned Grenfell a couple more times. For those that don't know, Grenfell was a residential tower block in Kensington, West London. On the 14th of June 2017, a fire broke out in the tower, leaving 72 people dead and the survivors homeless. The fire had spread rapidly due to recently renovated cladding and insulation that had not passed safety tests. The disaster and the government's lackluster response in rehousing the majority ethnic minority former residents has become emblematic in the black community of Britain's systemic issues and how little the current government cares. Okay, whereas Question Time critiqued the leaders of modern UK politics on issues such as Grenfell, Brexit and the NHS, Black looks into what it means to be Dave and the cultural history piled on top of him. The fact that Dave managed to do so in such an insightful and emotive way only adds to the track's overall power. For what could have been an unbearably heavy song, its cinematic, piano-led backing creates something that sounds almost triumphant, augmented with choral touches, strings, and a propulsive, hard-hitting beat. The simplicity of the arrangement makes it so that the lyrics are indisputably the focus. Dave spent time researching so his lyrics were properly informed. They deal with an array of political issues that the black community face, including cultural erasure.
Black is struggling to find your history or trace the shit. You don't know the truth about your race cause they're erasing it.
Cultural appropriation.
Black is so confusing cause the culture they're in love with it. They take our features when they want and have their fun with it.
And the lasting effects of colonialism.
But most importantly, to show how deep all of this pain goes, West Africa, Benin, they call it Slave Coast.
As well as personal struggles more specific to Dave. For example, his mother not wanting him to go down the same path as his brothers, having to be the man of the house in his father and brother's absence, and having to move out of Streatham due to a jealous community. In the most incisive bar, Dave calls out the negative systemic issues that come from the colour of his skin.
We all struggle, but your struggle ain't a struggle like me. Or how could it be when your people gave us the odds that we beat?
But as Dave told The Guardian, it's a good representation of what I associate with, and everything that I think. But I don't think that is universal for the whole black experience, because there's too many different races and dynamics within the race of black. For a black person that's Senegalese, growing up in France, or a New York Jamaican, that's a completely different relationship with being black, and how you might be accepted in that culture or that world. Everyone's experience is different. Black was released as a single in February 2019, 2 weeks before Psychodrama. His video features appearances from black UK talent, such as Manchester City player Raheem Sterling, Radio 1 DJ Tiffany Calver, Olympic sprinter Dina Asher Smith, mathematician Anne-Marie Amafton, fashion designer Oswald Boateng, as well as Stormzy. While Psychodrama itself topped the UK album chart, Black was its lowest of 4 charting singles, only reaching number 40. But as soon as BBC Radio 1 started playing the song, they started getting complaints, claiming that the song was racist. DJs Clara Amfo, Greg James and Annie Mac defended the track and their decision to continue playing it. Said Mac on Twitter, "If you are genuinely offended by a man talking about the colour of his skin and how it has shaped his identity, then that is a problem for you. It's not just okay to talk about race, it's crucial. Listen to the song with open ears, please." Despite this, low charting and all, Black still had some mileage yet. Due to the hype surrounding him following end-of-year lists and a viral Glastonbury set, Dave was invited to perform at the Brit Awards in February 2020, where he was nominated for Best Album, Best Solo Male, Best Single for Location, and Best New Artist. Knowing he would have the nation's ear, he chose to perform a special version of Black. Accompanied on piano by Fraser T. Smith, the performance included a black and white animated illustration of the lyrics, showing as well as telling as means to increase understanding. It also featured an exclusive final verse that accused then Prime Minister Boris Johnson of being a racist.
It is racist, whether or not it feels racist. The truth is, our Prime Minister's a real racist.
Pointed out the disparity and how the press talks about Prince William and Harry's respective wives.
Now, if you don't want to get it, then you're never gonna get how the news treats Kate versus how they treated Meghan.
And asked yet again what is being done for the victims of Grenfell.
But Grenfell victims still need accommodation.
A query he'd asked 3 years earlier on Question Time.
I got a question for the new Prime Minister. At Grenfell Tower, your response was ridiculous.
And still hadn't been resolved. That verse also paid tribute to Jack Merritt, victim of the London Bridge terrorist attack in November 2019.
Rest in peace, Jack Merritt, you're my brother in arms. There's tears in our eyes and love in our hearts.
Merritt's father said of Dave's performance, "We were blown away." Jack knew Dave on a personal level because he worked with Dave's eldest brother, Chris. They weren't best mates, but Jack went to see him perform a couple of times. We were so touched that Dave wrote a verse for Jack. We had no idea it was coming. It moved us to tears. Through his performance, Dave was greeted with cheers, and a standing ovation followed his mic drop. Said Dave, "That performance has been on my mind for months now. I've been rehearsing it for about 6 weeks, but I said what I needed to say, and I'm happy." And people complained. More than 300 people, in fact, claiming that Dave was racist, claiming that Boris Johnson wasn't racist. And the UK's communication regulator, Ofcom, rejected them all. This is not the first time that performances featuring hip-hop artists had offended those watching the Brits. When 30 of London's grime elite, featuring Skepta and Stormzy, joined Kanye for his performance of All Day in 2015, dressed in black, flamethrowers aloft. Fragile types weren't best pleased. 150 complaints. In 2018, Stormzy, amid a freestyle rap while performing Blinded by Your Grace Part 2, also criticised then Prime Minister Theresa May about her handling of the Grenfell disaster.
Yo, Theresa May, where's the money for Grenfell? What, you thought we just forgot about Grenfell, you criminals?
This also got its fair share of complaints. The same year as Dave's performance, Tyler the Creator dedicated his International Male Solo Artist Award to Theresa May, who'd previously banned him from the UK due to his song lyrics.
And I want to give a special shout out to someone who I hold dear to my heart, who made it where I couldn't come to this country 5 years ago. I know she's at home pissed off. Thank you, Theresa May.
And again, more complaints. These performers unnerved a section of the British public, proving that not everyone could handle honest black music. As stated by journalist Nadine Batchelor-Hunt, British people are more appalled by the accusations of racism than they are of actual racism happening before their eyes. And that's what it comes down to. Questions are asked that are too uncomfortable. Truths are told that some find too awkward to acknowledge. But the white outrage that Dave provoked served a purpose. It's not rebellion for rebellion's sake. He had a message to get across. NME said of the incident, Dave raps not to shock, but to investigate and interrogate. As much as a select few were shocked and appalled, Dave's performance and vulnerability got people talking about the issues, made them reassess their beliefs, educated them about prejudice, systemic oppression, and racial identity. All Britain needs to do is listen.
My way of making a positive impact, like you said, is just trying to, educate, tell stories and let people know where I come from, how it might, be not too dissimilar, or it might be very, very, very different from where you come from. But again, the human story is one and the same.
Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. So this wasn't the video that was supposed to be released next. I have a video about British rock and roll before the Beatles that will come out next week, but this story felt way more relevant right now. I'd like to thank my new top tier patrons, Steph Sykes and Gary Cruz. Thanks a bunch to everyone who donates. You make Trash Theory possible, and I'll see you next week.